Welcome to another edition of At Home with the President. I'm Anita Huber, and we're happy you've joined us again. On this week's edition, we'll be talking with the President about the economy and job creation. Mr. President, thanks again for inviting us to your home. We're, of course, overjoyed to be here. We want to talk a little bit about the performance of the country's economy in light of global challenges that the whole world is facing. How is Guyana doing?
Well, I'm glad you framed the question in that way, because it's important to understand what we have achieved in the context of the global framework that exists. And the fact is, as you know, since 2008, there was a huge financial and economic crisis in the world that has affected large areas. In the Caribbean, a lot of countries have been badly affected. And the beginnings of the crises that I spoke about was in the United States, which is our largest trading partner, and Europe, another one of our very large trading partners. So it is expected that that would have had a big impact, and we have seen the impact it is having in the Caribbean, where in some islands in the region, thousands of public servants are losing their jobs. Some have to accept pay cuts to keep their jobs. Others, wage freezes to keep their jobs going. So in that context, Guyana has done extremely well. That we were expected that last year our economy would have been growing by more than 4%, approximately 4.5% is the estimate. And this would be the 9th successive year of continuous economic growth in Guyana, which is the longest period of uninterrupted economic growth in the history of our country. So that is no mean achievement, taking into consideration what you mentioned about the global environment that we live in. And that shows very, very clearly that our government practices good governance. We are good husbandry of the economy, and we have made the economy grow to greater than the previous years. So our economy is good. Apart from that, we have also managed to keep inflation down. Last year, it is estimated that the inflation rate would have been about 3%, which is another very important and remarkable achievement in the context of what is happening internationally. So I would say within the global economy, within the global framework, Guyana has done very, very well to have had growth approximately 4.5% of the economy, and also to have keeping inflation at a pretty low rate at this point in time.
Before I let you go to the next thing we want to talk about, though, I was going to ask you about our investment portfolio as a country. You've still been able to attract quite a tremendous amount of investment in Ghana.
Yes, we have a lot of investment coming in all the various sectors of our society. We have had some big investments in agriculture. We have big investment in mining. The service sector continues to grow. And so I would say generally we've had some, over the last 3 years, we've had some very important and very big major investment within the economy of Guyana.
And you've also seen some interesting patterns emerging. Rice is now doing so very well. The other contributors.
The big challenge with rice is the production has gone up very, very quickly, and I think much faster than was expected. The challenge now is the markets, and that's the big challenge that we face. Not only to find the markets, but find the markets, the best markets that pay the most, so that our farmers can benefit from the hard work and the production that they're putting in at this point in time. In addition to what I've just said, I must also mention the growing role that gold has played within the economy over the years. They have made a major contribution to the development of the economy, and production has gone up significantly over the years. The big challenge we have with gold, however, is the fact that we are price takers. and the price of gold internationally has been fluctuating, and sometimes it has been very good when it's high, but sometimes it has been low, and that has caused also some difficulties. So while on the production side, it has done extremely well, there's still some amount of uncertainty as far as the markets are concerned. But I just want to say that gold has made a very significant contribution to the development of our society. The same can be said about sugar. You know, sugar historically has been playing one of the most important roles in the economy. But from 2010, we've had a big blow in the sugar industry when the European Union cut our quota, cut our prices, or removed the preferential prices that they had for our sugar, for the ACP sugar. And that has had a big impact on us. As a result of that, the need for restructuring the industry is there, which is very costly. And at the same time, in recent years, but let's say, for instance, last year, the price of sugar fell by more than 50% of what it was in the year 2013. So while the industry is recovering its production capacity and showing really brilliant signs of recovery, the international prices at this time is very very unfavorable. Hopefully, I hope by the second crop of this year that prices will begin to go up again, and that will certainly help the sugar industry to continue to play the major role that it has played in our economy for centuries. So those are some of the major challenges we face in sugar. I think it is indeed a difficult period, but it's a period that we are coming out of.
And you're navigating it quite.
And we're working very hard. I know the management of Gaisuco, they are working very, very hard to continue moving forward and to change some of the fortune that we've had. There's a lot of measures that are being taken to increase production and productivity, to control costs, keep costs down as much as possible, and to look at new revenue streams for the industry. For instance, now they've started to sell some molasses on the market. That's in small quantities. Beforehand, they only used to ship bulk to refineries and so forth. But now they're selling molasses in small quantities. They have to look at other types of sugars, specialty type of sugars and so forth. So they're generally looking at more and more revenue streams. Co-generation is another of this that is happening. Apart from that, too, you would have noticed that the small businesses have been growing in a fairly brisk manner, particularly with government's efforts to get cheaper credit to the small businesses. That medium and small business, they have been making a significant impact on the growth and development of the economy, providing jobs, and creating more employment within the economy itself. So I would say that in every sector, I think that there have been very, very clear evidence that of good management, good husbandry of our economy has helped us to continue to grow.
Certainly. Well, we know there's the non-traditional sectors, of course, and those have, over the last couple of years, we've seen an emerging pattern. They have also been contributing heavily to the GDP.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is true. As I mentioned, a lot of the small businesses that I'm speaking about, it's in these areas. And more people are becoming more and more conscious about some of the things that they can do. For instance, in the Rupununi now, they're not only producing peanuts, but producing peanut butter. They have a market specifically to these big schools that they have there, because the government provide meals and snacks for the children, so they have a ready market. And that has helped them to move from just being producers of peanut to now producing peanut butter. So that is a significant movement and in the direction of adding value. I know that some people have been looking at looking at technology to peel the peanuts, to crack them and peel them, and so that they can store more and small because they will be less bulky, can transport more to the city, can earn more money, and so forth. So all in all, I would say that the combination of both big investments and small investments by medium and small scale enterprises have really had a very positive impact on the economy of our country.
So if you're just joining us, you're watching At Home with the President. This week we are talking with the President in his home about the economy and, of course, job creation. Mr. President, job creation is a big deal for many of your citizens. They want to hear about it. They want more of it. But everything you said just now, there is no doubt with the growth we've seen in those sectors that there is, of course, the creation of jobs in the economy. But how is your government stimulating this creation of jobs difficult or easy?
This has always been a top priority by government, that we constantly have to prepare our people for jobs, particularly the kind of society that we want to build. We want to build a knowledge-based economy. We want to build we want to build a developed society. And therefore, to do that successfully, we have to start preparing now, to prepare our people for that future. Mm-hmm. That is one of the reasons that only yesterday I was on the quarantine where we were launching the new Atlantic Readers series. And I took the opportunity there to speak about the importance of education in this whole project of building a modern society, the one that we want our people to live in. And one of the ways to do that, of course, in the first instance, is to educate our people. Mm-hmm. You know, we have a new education bill. That was one of the reasons I prorogued the Parliament in November 10th last year, was to try to get the opposition to see the need for us to, and the importance of education in our society, and to get them to want to support the new education bill that is laid in the Parliament so that we can modernize our economy, our educational system. And moreover, the whole fact that while we have refurbished and built new schools and so forth, we have to probably start thinking about redesigning classrooms to meet the future that we see is looming ahead of us, and to prepare our people that they will be able to take up the jobs that are definitely coming on stream. As you know, I think it's only in today's paper or in the paper a few days ago, where they were talking about a new oil rig coming to Guyana to start drilling in search of oil, meaning that I am very optimistic that very soon we will become an oil and gas producing society. That itself can create a lot of jobs directly and indirectly in a spin-off way. But for us to benefit, for our people to benefit from that development, we have to train them. And that is why we have been building not only in the schools, and we want to make the minimum standard of education in our country, we want to make it secondary education must be in the near future the minimum standard. And we want also to have our people technically competent. So we have been building new technical institutes right across our country to get our people to be technically competent to deal with some of the new technology that our oil and gas industry can bring to us. Of course, in several other areas, I also envisage that we will have other manufacturing sectors coming on stream at the same time, so that these things will happen. We've also been creating also the big possibility to expand small businesses in credits. We have made credit more available to the private sector so that they can invest more and more in business, particularly medium and small scale enterprises. And that too will help to create the jobs in our society that we need to ensure that we have full employment. That is, I mean, we have gone a very, very far away from where we were, but we still don't have full employment. But these are the measures that we are using to ensure that we can have full employment within our society by giving access to, there are many, many programs that we have. I just spent maybe a week or two ago at the convention center with the Small Business Bureau and in recognizing the work of some of those small businesses that have grown over the year. And they would not stay small. Many of them will grow on to become big businesses within our society. Because if you look at the history of our country, many of the businesses that we have, the local businesses that we have, started small, but are now ended up to be very big, very, very big business in our society. So this is one of the areas that we will constantly have to plug to ensure that. And of course, within our education system, as I mentioned to you how important education is, we will continue to give emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, the STEM subject, as they call them. And because those areas, our people, as I envisage the future of our country, the demand for that level of technical competence with the new jobs that we're going to try to create, that will be extremely important to have competent people to fill all the vacancies, to have good paying jobs within the system itself. So I would say a combination of measures. One, trying to give incentives to and facilitating the development of small and medium-scale business, opening the economy to large investments like in the oil and gas sector, which is a new sector coming on stream. Modern economy, the ICT sector, another very major area. Already we see Qualfund, they are employing a few thousands of people already. There are a few thousands of people employed in this sector as a whole already in our society. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of how far we can go in creating new jobs once we have once we have the human capital. And we have been doing a lot in other type of training too. Like for instance, the Ministry of Labor has its own training program that's targeting a lot of particularly young people who, because of one or the other circumstances, probably did not get to finish school. They have been targeting them to give them skills, and we have trained a lot of heavy-duty operators, mechanics, electricians, beauticians, home economics type of skills and so forth. So the Ministry of Labor also has that program that is doing a lot of work. And also within the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, there are other programs in order targeting young people to ensure that no one is left behind in the new and modern society that we want to build.
But that's a lot of investment, and you certainly have outlaid a lot of plans and of course things that are happening right now. What are the challenges, though, are you finding with job creation and getting people prepared? Are kids not taking the opportunities afforded them? They don't know of them?
No. I think they're doing, it's not still, we would like, of course, I personally will not be satisfied until we have 100% passes. And we have gone a very, very far way from where we've come from, but it's still, I think there's still huge room for development in that regard. But as I said, it's a combination of government, private sector, government spending also a lot and creating a lot of jobs in the building of infrastructure, the infrastructure that we need, the new roads, the new
labs. You need lots of things.
A lot of things that we need that government will have to be investing in. And also creating the environment for the private sector to make their contribution, and for small business and so to do that. So that is some of the focus that we are doing to stimulate the economic growth and also to stimulate the development within the whole issues of creating jobs and good paying jobs for our people within the society itself.
So, Mr. President, you have certainly given us the challenges you have with creating jobs, and you've also outlined what you're doing to create jobs. But what are you doing to help the existing workers in the labor force?
Well, a lot has already been done, you know, over the years. For instance, minimum wage has gone up greatly over the years. We've had, in fact, I've been having a lot of representation have been made to me about the need. Some employers asking me about the possibility of bringing in other labor because the supply of labor seems to be insufficient. I've had several such requests being made to the government in recent times. But we have had, the minimum wage, which has gone up in a big way. Public servants' wage bill has gone up tremendously, and the whole right across the country. Private sector wage bills have also improved and so forth. We've increased the tax threshold. It's now $50,000 before people start to pay tax, meaning that that was a major improvement for low-income people in particular, but even people who are not so low income, at least they have a bigger tax-free. We've also are working towards the personal income tax levels to also reduce.
Well, you have reduced it from 33
to 30%. We have reduced that as well. So that is also extremely important in the welfare. But these are the direct things, but there's a lot of indirect benefits too that the working people get from the government. For instance, children in school get free textbooks, free exercise books. Many of them get free hot meals in school, yeah. Snacks, so that we can keep our kids in school. Our health services are free. Anyone can access our health services free, where people don't have to pay. Of course, if they go to the private hospital, they have to pay, but at the government institutions, and the services of a fairly high level, I would say, that we have. And therefore, they were both the direct and the indirect benefits, the housing program that we have that has allowed workers to own their own house. This was a dream for many workers. I myself did not own my own home until I was almost 50 years old. So now I went to the West Demerara about 2 weeks ago when they had a program there, and I met people 24 and 26 years old getting their own house lots so that they can build their own homes, so they can live in a more secured environment at a young age that can make them more productive in that regard. So we subsidize heavily on that. We even ease workers' expense by giving assistance for school uniforms for our children. So in a number of ways, I think we have to look at both the direct benefits and the indirect benefits that the working people get, the benefits that they get, that we have provided and we have made possible, create the conditions for them to improve their quality of life.
I think one of the laudable things your government has done is this introduction of the mortgage interest relief.
Yeah, that too. That's also to encourage more workers, particularly young workers, to own their own homes, instead of living in rented homes, that they have a possibility to own their own homes, paying with the arrangements that we have with the banks so that they pay a lower mortgage rate for the particularly first-time homeowners.
All right, and I'm assuming that come the 12th of May, 2015, workers are going to be looking to you. If you've been re-elected president, 12th of May, 2015. What do you say to the workers who are looking to you right now?
Well, I think much of what I've said before, that the possibilities that we have, and I spoke about, when we were speaking about job creation, I spoke about the new sectors that are coming on stream, the oil and gas sector, the ICT sector, I didn't speak extensively about it, but the new agricultural sector that is coming. We're already seeing some people come in to start to do planting of soya bean, which will, in a big scale, so that will be like not only agro, but agro-industrial type of operation that we will have. So I would say that the possibilities would be big for them to have greater opportunities for jobs, and much better possibilities to have better paying jobs within the society, not just basic jobs, but jobs that will pay bigger salaries, wages and salaries to working people.
So as we come to the end of today's edition of At Home with the President, where we're talking about job creation and the economy, of course, Mr. President, we can't conclude this discussion without introducing the private sector. They're a big partner with the government in managing, in moving the economy of the country. And I know that you also would want to talk about what's happening with the challenges you might have, and what's happening with the private sector.
Well, I believe that one of the reasons that we've had a big growth in private sector investment in our society over the years is the fact that the infrastructure that the government has put in place has encouraged more and more investment in our society. Better roads, better facilities, all around. It has facilitated investment in Guyana. The one project that I think that is very, very important, that is still not realized, is to provide cheaper energy for our people as a whole, but also with a view that it will even encourage greater investment in our society. And that is hydropower, the cheap energy. And you know what happened with the Amila Falls project, which should have started construction more than a year ago, but the opposition blocked that in the National Assembly. However, I'm still pursuing that. I'm pursuing that aggressively to try to ensure that very early in the new government, that we will be able to get, before the end of this year, I hope, that we can at least start constructing, to try to conclude the discussion that we're having now with other companies, and to start building this new power station, which is extremely vital for the rapid development of our country and for creating a new sector, the new manufacturing sector within the society, to allow us to do much more work. That's one. The other thing that we're doing as far as energy is concerned, we're giving a lot of concessions, duty concessions, and people bringing in like solar panels so that they can generate their own electricity for them personally or for industries. Other generating facilities, all of these things we're trying to do, give more incentives to use more low energy consuming type of bulb, the LED equipment, solar lamps, solar heaters. So those things the government have been taking off their taxes so that they encourage the private sector and individuals to use more things, more of a renewable nature, renewable energy within the society. That is the direction that we are going, and we are using our tax. But also, you know that we have also given, even though we have these limited possibilities, but with the price of oil being low as it is at this point in time, we have also used that to encourage more cheaper energy for the private sector and for people at large. You know that we've given a 10% deduction of electricity rates, which will impact both on the private sector and people personally. individual workers, farmers, everyone will benefit from that. We have also cut the price of fuel at the pump by some 30%. Unfortunately, a lot of commuters have not yet benefited because I understand some people in the transport sector,
Minibus Association,
the minibuses,
and so
they have not brought down, all of them have not brought down their prices to give people a cheaper service that they can get because of where the prices are. So these are some of the things that we have done. We have also, in the whole process of using our taxation policy, we have brought down some of the taxes in relation to company taxes to allow, for instance, in one case we brought it down from 45 to 40%, that allow companies to reinvest more or to have new investment or go to other branches of development within the society. We've also cut taxes on property taxes to allow them also to incentivize them so that they can do much more investment within the society and create more wealth as a whole, not only for themselves, but wealth that can be spread out throughout the society and distributed throughout the society so all of us can have a better quality of life.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much for having us. We've come to the end of our program, of course, and this is certainly an insightful discussion on the economy and, of course, job creation. I think anyone watching the program will walk away feeling heartened and optimistic about what the future holds. So again, thank you for inviting us in your home.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
And that's our program of At Home with the President. I'm Juanita Huber. On behalf of the crew, we wish you well. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.